Hey everybody, welcome to the Gym Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How's everybody doing today? Good to see you guys. We got up into the mid 60s weather-wise, Fahrenheit here in the Northeast. And wow, are we happy about that? Yes, spring right here, and it's feeling like it. And hopefully this weather stays this way. It's sunny right now. It's in the mid 60s. No humidity. It is absolutely beautiful. I hope it is wherever you're watching around the world. Hello to our JMS Lovely Squad. We're approaching some 650 episodes live just about 7 days a week of our entertainment lifestyle talk show series, bringing back the old school way of doing these shows like television shows and series. Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, so many others. But with a modern vibe, modern twist of today. Hello to the JMS Lovely Squad. That's our real faithful audience of viewers internationally who watch, who share, who support, who celebrate. And they usually watch all the time. They don't just come in and out once in a while based on the guest or whatever. They are here faithfully, and we love that. And we know who they are. They are the real Lovely Squad. And if you're watching for the first time, well, you can be a part of the Lovely Squad too. Just keep watching, enjoying, celebrating, sharing the links on your social media. Many of you are doing that. We noticed that. That's duly noted. We thank you so much. That helps the show continue to thrive and grow. Also, subscribing to the YouTube channel and sharing the YouTube channel lets us know that you're a part of our lovely family as well. There's no cost to do that. You just hit that red button you see there on the YouTube channel. It says subscribe. Make sure you click the notification bell as well so you never miss any of the episodes of our iconic series, our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that is extraordinarily fun to do. A lot of work behind the scenes because you guys know I work in television, radio professionally, and we're really, really busy right now. Everything is ramped up. I'm doing multiple radio shows a day, on location TV shoots, in studio shoots, including on the weekends. We're headed on location to some places across the country. A lot of cool things happening. And but of course, this show here is a baby of ours. It's a fantastic place to come and to join all of you. If this is your first time watching the Gym Masters Show, welcome. It's so nice to have you here. Hopefully you'll find something you enjoy, peruse and binge watch all the other episodes we have with guests that come in from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, culinary arts, stage, you name it, sports, comedy, inspiration, and so much more. And we always have a good time. Give this episode a nice like and leave a comment on the episode as well, right underneath the actual episode on our YouTube channel. Now, if you would like to comment in chat, a lot of people are commenting right now in chat. You're welcome to do that too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's an exclusive for our subscribers of our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. You have the opportunity to chat live amongst each other and with us. Gym Masters, the host, and the guest. So make sure you do that and have some fun with us. Good to have you with us. Hope your day is going well. Wherever you're watching around the world, we realize we have an international audience continuing to grow, continuing to build, because we're doing something we love doing, and I think it shows. And thanks for all the great comments and tweets and Instagram messages and Facebook posts and all the emails and everything that you guys are doing to us directly. And it really means a great deal. I thank you so much for being a subscriber, being a viewer, being a commenter, being a celebrator and supporter of this unique place, this community. This isn't just a matter of uploading videos or just throwing something together. We put a lot of time and attention into all these episodes and love doing it for all of you, and you. And we're very excited tonight because we've got an amazing guest joining us, not from New York, though he does a lot of work in New York, of course. He's in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Matter of fact, I'm going to be heading there in May for a television news project, and I can't wait to head to Fort Lauderdale to do that. Playwright, director, actor, teacher, children's author, and creator of BLOOPY'S Buddies on PBS Kids. Remember that great series in the 1990s? Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of you do. And of course, Breakfast with Birds is his latest children's book. He's renowned in the industry. He's got his hands in a lot of different things. He and I were just comparing notes before going live on the show I said, how's your day been? And he said, very busy. And I said, I know how that is. He said, it's like a 28-hour day. Ever since the clocks moved ahead, for some reason, it does seem like the days are going faster. I don't know if it is the same for you guys. I know they're going to talk about, or they have talked about, making the daylight savings time here in the United States permanent for the areas that do it. Everywhere basically except I think Arizona. But since moving the clock ahead, the days do seem like they're going so much faster. I think it's probably more that our schedules are a lot fuller now, and that's what is doing it. But Jack is here, and again, he's a tremendous playwright, director, actor, teacher, and so much more. He's been doing it for a long time. He's written for stage, television, magazines. He wrote for the cable TV series The Islanders. He's a produced playwright on the New York stage. His children book, Breakfast with the Birds, has recently been made into a musical for kids. Again, writer and performer for the long-running PBS kids show BLOOPY'S Buddies, and freelance associate producer for the Entertainment Sports Programming Network. You know what that is, gang? Maybe only broadcasters now know that. ESPN, of course, which is headquartered in Bristol, Connecticut. He's currently writing the sequel to his children's book, along with the book and lyrics for a new musical based on the life of a 19th century French artist. Jack graduated from Emerson College in Boston, terrific school, and did his grad work at NYU, native Texan, living in New York City and in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So, hope your day is going well. Keep the comments coming. We'll check some of those comments out, but won't you join me, gang? Lovely squad, new and old. Those who are joining us for the first time, we welcome you as well. Welcome our great guest, Jack G. Hyman, joining us here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Not too shabby. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I love being here, Jim, and I loved all of your intro and learning so much about you and what you do. And I'm pretty impressed. So
I appreciate that. And it's only been a minute and a half. Hopefully it's upward from there.
Well, you have 28 hours this day.
Has it not seemed like since we put the clocks ahead? I don't know why it is this year. And I think it may be because what's adding to it is coming out of this pandemic and going into that endemic stage. And we were sort of used to still being busy, still doing what we do. But now the world around us has ramped up and things are open and things are happening and everybody's eager and there's just a lot of stuff to get done and we're passionate and we want to get it all going. And it just seems like since moving that clock the hour ahead, the days seem shorter, even though they're not.
Crazy, isn't it? I feel the same. And it just seems to... I'm playing catch up. I think that's what I feel like.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Playing catch up. Right. Exactly. Well, you've caught up with us and we've caught up with you and that's fantastic. And it's really cool to have you here. How is, need I even ask, Fort Lauderdale today?
It's beautiful today. Actually, it was a beautiful weekend. Supposed to have torrential downpour, storms and all that. Never happened. Then again, it could also be predicted to be the most glorious sunny day, and that's when the torrential downpours will come. I thought it was a science, but I have a feeling it's not as precise as we think. And I think I've just alienated every meteorologist on the planet. But this part of the country, it changes quickly. So, but it's beautiful today.
I once did, of the many hats I wore and have continued to wear in this industry, I did substitute weather actually for a television station in Connecticut. And we were using AccuWeather as the medium for predicting the forecasts. And yeah, it gets a little crazy. It's tough to, especially up north, up in this region, really tough to predict what's going to happen next. But you can, I know at least in the Orlando area, around 2 o'clock religiously every day, no matter how sunny and warm it is, it's going to be a downpour. And then in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whoosh, it's all dried up and everybody can go back to resuming that outdoor picnic on the grass or golf course or whatever you're doing, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Here, well, of course, June we start the beginning of the hurricane season, which doesn't necessarily mean anything unless you have a hurricane. But
Yes.
we'll see.
So you grew up in Texas. When did you leave Texas? And was New York the first stop for you upon leaving Texas, or did you travel to other areas and then make your way to the big city?
Well, the latter. I left Texas to go to college, and that was Emerson. So
Yeah.
Boston, which I love, was
Mhm.
my first stop, really. And
Yes.
that's where a lot of the groundwork was laid for at least what I wanted to do, what I thought I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do. Uh,
Yeah.
all of that stuff started there, and I loved Emerson. It's an amazing school, and it's gotten even
Yeah.
more amazing, which is really it blows me away when I go up for whether it's a reunion or just get up to Boston and go see it. You can take it as an alumnus. You can take a tour anytime, and
It's
it's
incredible, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. They've managed that campus and other campuses. They have an LA campus. They have I want to say Netherlands. They
Yes.
they've really. I mean, it's astonishing what they've done and how well they do it. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of it and proud to be an alumnus of Emerson.
And what was the field of study when you were at Emerson?
Theater.
It was theater. Yes.
I was pretty specific. I mean, I was an actor there. I,
Yes.
was an actor in Texas, and then obviously wanted to pursue it, and went on from there. So it was a good place to be, and they still do so much. Well, now they even do more. They own so many theaters in Back Bay, but at the time,
Exactly.
great. I think that's where I cut my teeth on little black box theaters, little hole in the wall theaters, and I still prefer them, to be honest. I mean, big stages are great, but there's something magical about the smaller theaters, the black boxes. You have
Mm.
I think you create more in the sense of having to create more because you have less to work with.
Yes.
And that's not being critical in any way of a massive major Broadway show with a huge budget, but I think when you're learning under those circumstances, I can't think of any better way. You may curse it at the time. I wish we had this. I wish. Yeah, no, it's the way. I firmly believe in that.
So, upon graduation, what was the next step for you? Did you already have a plan of action? Were things already lined up for you, Jack, or did you have to create it yourself? What happened after Emerson?
Well, I'm different from the average bear, so to speak. I had made a promise to myself. When I was young, I always wanted to be involved in gymnastics, in the sport, and I was the right size. I was the right everything for it, but they didn't have it growing up, and I made a promise that if they still didn't have it in my hometown of San Antonio, when I graduated, I would go home and open a school,
Mm.
and they didn't have it. I was sure they
They did-
such a popular sport. The YMCA programs had it, but there was no private club. So I did exactly that. So I had a detour. I've had a lot of detours, and I wouldn't trade any of them because once my final detour became writing, I realized everything I was detouring to and with fed everything I needed to get moving as a writer. So anyway, so I went home and I did. I opened up the San Antonio Gymnastics School and ran that for many years. Eventually, selling it and doing a couple other things, and then finally continuing in theater. I never left theater, so I should add that. As an actor, I stayed there. I did, an enormous amount of productions in San Antonio and that area, and then eventually I said, you know what? If I don't go to New York, I'm going to regret it. And so I did, and that's when New York came in. It wasn't a direct flight from Boston.
Yeah. Did you come in for something specific, or you were just coming in to, lay ground and make things start to happen?
To New York?
Yeah.
No, I came in specifically to be an actor. I
You
did. I
can't.
got rid of everything, got rid of my house. Nope, I moved there. I had a friend who lived there, and I said, "Listen, how long could I stay with you, uh, just to be sure that I'm going to stay?" And he said, 6 months. And so at the end of 6 months, I knew it was real. And stayed. I went back home and packed up all my stuff that was just sitting in storage, and I moved to New York permanently.
Mm.
And,
So, as you're coming along in the city, did the opportunities develop quickly in the acting area, or did you have to do a lot of things first?
well, it depends on the definition of those opportunities, I guess. There's always something. One of my dearest friends at the time in San Antonio, who was a wonderful actor, I was scared, I was nervous, and I was expressing that to him. He said, "You're going to work." I went, "Yeah, right. How do I know that?" He said, "If you audition, you'll get work." Proved to be totally true. That doesn't mean every audition you get, because we all know that you get very few. But
Yes.
it really did. And he actually motivated me to just, shut up and keep auditioning, even though, as we all know, rejections are massive. And in the early, you get used to them, but they're not, you either get used to them and keep pushing, or you just say, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. And that's fine too, whichever direction you go. But his advice was good. And I told him so for many years, that I really appreciate. I think I needed to hear that, because otherwise it was easier to get discouraged. And he had already done it. He was an older friend, and he had done that, been there, done that. And he
Been there,
said,
done that.
if you audition, you're going to. And so, yes, I got work. I mean, little things, extra work, background, atmosphere, as they call it.
Yeah.
So, but I got not steady in the beginning. It was sporadic. And then I think the break came off Broadway with the musical Rasputin. And that was a big break for me. I got a nice role in that. And it sort of set things going, because it ran for a while. It put the name, just Rasputin, the musical, whether you saw it or not, you knew it existed. So
Right.
it was nice to have it as a credit. And it opened a few doors. And so this is all in the acting world, but that was very helpful. So that kind of made things. And then the best part about black box theaters is what I just said, but the best part about New York is there's so many little theater companies. And I fell in love with theater companies. First of all, you meet other actors going through the same thing. You're always able to perform because your company always performs. And that was kind of magical. And that was different from the world I had lived in, certainly in South Texas. So all of that combination, it was like another education. Emerson was great for some practical things, but New York, it was a great education, because it's right there, and you're doing it or you're not.
Exactly right. So you were excited, and the family was rooting for you, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, my family's always been supportive, so that was never an issue. They went through the "I'm sure you're crazy, but we still support you" stages, and actually I think they still do. So never mind. And that's fine. I don't deny any of that.
When did you decide to start to go into playwriting? When did you start to, and when you started, for the audience's understanding, did you sort of push the acting aside and go thrusting into playwriting, or were you sort of dabbling in both at the same time? And what was the inspiration to go into playwriting?
I I had always written, but it was never as anything other than, I'm gonna go home and write something. I never ever had thought of it as a future. It just never occurred to me, for better or for worse. I had written for like college papers and different things because I loved writing, but it never clicked in my brain that might be something I like. I knew I liked it, but not something that I was even qualified to do, until my youthful arrogance kicked in. I was cast in a television series called The Islanders, and
Yes.
I didn't like the writing.
When was that? What years was?
Probably the 90s.
Mhm.
I'm guessing, Bloopy's stuff was around then too. But give or take, who watches those decades? But yeah, right around there. It could have been even as much as into 2000, but right around there, I got that, and I just didn't care for it. But anyway, I did my job, and I did
You
it
did
well.
what you did, right?
but I complained a lot about it. And I actually kind of was hoping to get fired because I just thought, this is not good. And finally, one day, the producer did call me into the office, and I thought, okay, and this is my arrogance. I take full responsibility, and said, you complain a lot. I said, well, the writing's not very good and all that. And here I'm thinking, okay, come on.
This is it. This is my release, my freedom, my liberation.
Do you think you can do any better? And I was sort of shocked. And I made some totally smart ass remark, which I'm not going to repeat. But basically saying, well, like almost anybody could, but it's worse. So, and he said, then why don't you shut the hell up and write something? And threw me out of the office. And I went,
maybe I didn't think of that option.
No, I thought, well, I know the characters, I know the plots, I know, okay. And I started writing for them. And it didn't last. It wasn't a great show. It didn't last a lot longer, but they bought several episodes.
What network is it on? I remember the series.
It was
it was cable. Yeah.
It was definitely. Yeah. But at that, at that time, there were like a million different offshoots of cable.
Yes.
We actually filmed it in Staten Island, so it may have had some genesis there.
When Bravo started out, and A&E, I mean, A&E was arts and entertainment. It was very high-end programming. Bravo was very high-end, shows, and now it's totally different. Both of them are, but the way they started was very, very different than what's on a lot of them now.
And so many started. This was small. It was on cable, but it was small, and so many of those things evolved.
Yeah.
Things today, if we knew who swallowed them up and swallowed them up and swallowed them up.
Yeah.
The surprise is, that's where it started. So it was, but I think it was like SITV or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. And then Bloopy's Buddies. I mean, that's pretty cool. How did that all come about for you?
I didn't create the show. I was on the show. It came about, as many things in my life, because of my gymnastics background. And the reason was, when I moved to New York, most people get support jobs as waiters or whatever. And because I had a skill that paid a lot more, and that is coaching gymnastics, I did. So I went to some of the private clubs, and I had all the credentials to get hired, so that was easy. And I got hired, and I was working with you have the kids you work with every day, and one of them, Michelle was her name, Michelle Ginsburg. God, I wonder how old she is today. But her father came up to me and he said, and I get along well with kids. I like kids. So he said, I'm producing the show on PBS called Bloopy's Buddies, and I would like you to be involved in it as this or that or the other. He wasn't completely sure. But I went, okay, yeah. So yeah, that was real easy. And it evolved to me being in several segments of it. The biggest one, I was Jumpin' Jack. I was, oh my God, that's her actually. That's his daughter, Michelle.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
Well, whatever period those computers were in was the period we started. That's Bloopy.
And that was on PBS. That was part of PBS Kids. I mean, and that, is landmark in the 1990s. Kids, I'm sure, remember this.
Wow. I'm having a flashback here.
Yeah.
It was a health, safety, fitness, nutrition show for kids between 3 and 7. And all the characters, that was Sergeant Lookout was his name, were all Jonathan Winters.
Jonathan Winters. Yeah.
This is Maestro Johann Baton, and that was Bloopy in the background. This is one of my segments. I live in the gym shoe.
So you're in the gym shoe.
And I don't know how far this goes, but Jumpin' Jack was live on there, and we did live, so to speak. It was actually ahead of its time because it was the fitness. I was all the fitness parts of it, and we would do interactive exercise with the kids, and we had kids in the studio, of course, but I'm talking to the camera to the kids at home. And we always had a theme, and this theme might be rhythm. There, I recognize the kids. Today may be rhythm, and so we have different things. And it was just a fun show. Now on these segments, this was the Bloopy size segment, I'm actually off camera doing this so the kids can watch, because it's hard to just stare at Bloopy.
So they're actually seeing you doing these moves, and that's how they're able to follow what's happening?
Yes,
Wow.
for this segment.
Yeah.
For the segments where we're teaching, no, I'm on camera.
Yeah.
With like 4 kids right there. It wouldn't be quite as many. And then they are watching me. We're positioned in a different way. This is the Bloopy Shuffle, which was the trademark dance
Yeah.
of the show. And the guy that was inside of Bloopy he was great. Really, really a great dancer. And he really brought Bloopy to life. And my understanding is it was very difficult because that costume was evidently very uncomfortable. I was never in it, but it was fun. And they did a great job. I felt like I thought it was ahead of its time. It was much more low tech, as you can see, but it was ahead of its time. It really started an exercise trend, I believe, for kids' TV.
Yes.
And people jumped on it for years. And every so often I hear someone say something about it. So I think it still airs in some worlds, but everything is much more high tech now. And that's great. But I liked that I felt like we were on the ground floor of I didn't know it at the time. It's looking back. Whoa.
Yes.
Kind of started something.
It really, it was right around the same time period as a longtime public television colleague of mine. He's since retired, but Larry Rifkin, who really brought Barney to bear on PBS. And I think it was something like his daughter. They were at a store, video game store. His daughter wanted to watch some video, and she was mesmerized by this video of Barney, just a regular video that she got off the shelf. And she just wore that tape out, that VHS tape out, and he was intrigued by that. And he was doing national programming for the affiliate in Hartford. And he approached them, the producers, the creators of Barney, and then brought it to PBS. And because his daughter loved it and wore that tape out, it became this long-running, series, Barney, on
Barney.
public television. A lot of these types of things were really big at that point. Well, public television, I mean, I've been affiliated with it for a long time. It's the kids shows, the children's programs, even if some of the early ones weren't, the most high tech, but still, when you look at like Sesame Street and Zoom and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Arthur and all of them, Reading Rainbow, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Bloopy's Buddies, all of them, there's an innocence to them, but there's a warmth and a welcoming nature to them, a non-threatening feel to them, which isn't always what you see on television. And not only is it helping kids learn, but it also makes them feel safe and accepted and comfortable and teamwork. This one, I think they titled this one, "You Are Special." I mean, that's a great message that kids need to hear, right?
Absolutely. And we saw it. The fun part about that's one of the segments. The fun part was seeing the kids interact with Bloopy, with me, and feel comfortable and at home and all that.
Yes.
And this was one of my segments.
That's you there in the middle.
Believe it or not.
There he is. There's Jack Hyman right there.
That's still not the teaching segment. The teaching. This is again another Bloopy size segment. Bloopy Bloopy talked, but could not be spontaneous. So because it was all pre-recorded. So just in that time. So hence Jumpin' Jack, which was my character, came to be because when we did Westbury, we did a lot of live shows.
Yes.
It needed a semi-real human. So they asked me to be a spokesperson for it, because unless it was recorded, Bloopy could only just nod or say, yes or no, or move or get excited.
That is absolutely
there you are.
Wonderful. I'm so happy you came.
That's cool. And then they go to all the different segments and
Yes, each one has a Bloopy character: the doctor, the police officer, the chef, uh, the gym shoe guy. And when they go into each of those segments, obviously the base costume, but they had their own accents, they had their own voices, they had their own script of the things they did. I wrote the exercise segments were mine, so I was in charge of writing all of those, which was great fun. But that, that I got it because I was teaching his daughter.
see.
And
That's where the gymnastics, the athletic prowess, along with being an actor and having the understanding of performance, and in this case, working with kids, really all came together in this perfect vehicle for you.
Completely. It really was a perfect storm of everything. And I knew when he asked me basically to start just on a low keyed way, but they were looking for a bigger role on it, and I went, no, this is mine. So we said, well, we'll do it on a trial basis, and then I ended up doing the gym shoe thing, the segments. But it was a wonderful, yes, all of what you just said is true. It all came together, and it was a lot of fun, and they worked hard. The producers, they had a lot of good writers.
Was it shot in New York?
It was the first one or two seasons were shot actually at KPBS in San Diego.
KPBS San Diego, sure, great station.
Ask me how much I loved San Diego. I loved it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
San Diego is nice. Yes.
Just to go there, and I actually was hoping that they would keep it out there. Then it moved back to the East Coast to NJN in Trenton, I believe.
Yes, New Jersey Network, sure,
Right. So that's where it changed, and then stayed there. I think we used not ESPN, but we used one of the studios of one of the networks.
Yeah.
And but it stayed. Then it stayed in Trenton for the rest of the time. We never went back. I don't know the backstory, but it was just as much fun, just different. And Jonathan Winters was a hoot. So
oh yes, absolutely. To have him as a part of that, really.
He told children's stories in a lot of his characters that we all have grown to love over the years, and it was just fun to have him around.
So while you were working on Bloopy's Buddies for PBS Kids, were you also working on other things simultaneously, or did this really consume a good deal of your time, Jack?
No, I could work. Well, I didn't work on other things during the weeks we're taping. That was very specific. So that was a big commitment, but it was just a few weeks. I don't know, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. But it did not take a lot of my year because you tape all the episodes over a period of days or weeks, and then that's it. And it's called stripping, I believe, where they just kept showing it. So no, it was a segment of time each year or twice a year to tape. And then I got in advance. They gave me a lot of leeway to create the exercises, and there were some parameters. They had to be this and had to be that, all which were good. And then I worked with a fitness guru, a woman named Linda Carson. Actually, I can't believe I'm still remembering it.
Remember that, yeah.
And we ran everything I would do. I'd run it by her so she could be the expert to say, yes, this is good to work with kids. And then she had ideas too. And then I would take them and write the scripts and then perform them and then do it with the kids. And there's a lot of ad-libbing too, because kids.
Yes.
That was the fun of kids. That was one of my favorite parts, because you have a kid who's jumping up and down but starting to go off camera.
Yes.
And you're taping, and you don't want to stop. Not that you can't, but so you come up with lots of creative ways to say, okay, bring that bunny rabbit back this way. Something like this.
He's still on. The cameras are still rolling. We're still.
Oh yeah. There are very few times. I don't know that there were many at all that it had to stop for that reason.
Yeah.
So because that's part of it, being able to see the kids, it being kids, even with the crazy things that they might come up with that are different and unexpected, that became a little bit of a part of the show.
Which is terrific, really. You also you do some freelance work with ESPN.
I did.
Yeah.
That ended for a reason I'll tell you that was interesting. The ESPN thing again. I always, there's a book I've always heard of. I never read it, called "Everything I Know I Learned in Kindergarten." I think it's called. And I always thought I'm going to write a book, everything I know I learned through gymnastics. But that was another case of I was hired as a writer who spoke gymnastics because of my background. And I was sent all over the world to cover the World Gymnastics Championships, wherever, Hungary, Belgium. And it was amazing. And so I would do some television things like log the world feed and things like that. But there was a lot of downtime, and my responsibility was to do what they call postcards of the places we were at. So let's say we were in Hungary. Let's go to Belgium because I'm a chocoholic. And, I had complete freedom to take a camera crew. And I knew that I didn't want to just go to the tourist places, like, let's just say my hometown. The Alamo is famous in San Antonio. It's wonderful, but everybody knows it's there and everybody knows about it. So I'm a very good researcher, and I became even better at ESPN because I would find things that nobody knew about. I wouldn't just go to the oldest church that everybody knew about. So it opened up a lot of doors in the country because there were one of the world's oldest pottery families was in a little town in Hungary, and I found them. And this guy was if I may, and you can stop me anytime. His name was Fazekas. As it turns out, though, the word for pottery in Hungarian is Fazekas. That is how old his family. That's how old the profession was there by his family. I mean, it's been handed down for generations before the word. I was like blown away meeting Lajos Fazekas, and that became that was amazing. Anyway, the guy was brilliant, magnificent, and he taught us, and we did a lot of things, which I still have some of the pottery. But anyway, that came about because of gymnastics too. So I could speak gymnastics, work with some of the announcers, Bart Connor, for example, who was the Olympian. And
yes.
And so, and I knew Bart from the old days as well.
Yeah.
But he would be the spokesperson. I would write the scripts, we'd rehearse, and then Bart would be the face on camera of saying, "We're here at the oldest potter in the world," and things like that. So it was a lot of fun to do that, and that was great. And that ended because ESPN lost the the contract for the World Gymnastics Championships. It's obviously still being televised, and of course I took that very personal. Not by ESPN, but by, I don't know, ABC or one of the big networks, whoever. And I thought, why are they doing this to me? I really loved that. That
was a good, Have you stayed in touch with Bart Connor at all?
No, we're friends. We're Facebook friends. Every so often. I mean, I saw him. I saw him a couple times in New York. He and Nadia, but
that's right. He and Nadia Comaneci, right?
Right. But
Nadia's theme was written for.
That's
by Barry Dvorak.
No, I think it was already written. It was the theme from one of the soap operas. I'm gonna
The Young and the Restless.
There it is. And I think
Perry Botkin Jr. and then Barry Dvorak got together,
but I could be wrong.
Great names.
I don't know if it came first as Nadia's and then went to the soap, or if it was the soap. I may have.
That's a good question. I always thought it was. I know they listed as Nadia's theme.
Yes.
By Barry Dvorak and I think Perry Botkin Jr. And then maybe the soap opera adopted it.
You may be right. I know that connection is there. I never thought. I think I believe
there is that connection. Yeah, beautiful song, of course. Yeah,
definitely.
Also. We're talking about the playwriting, the acting, we're talking about, the television, but also a children's book author. And that's beautiful. Tell us about that. What inspired you initially to want to write for children? I mean, you're already doing that with Bloopy's Buddies, but actually in text form for children to absorb and enjoy.
Well, I had never thought about it. I mean, again, going with the flow is not a bad thing in life. So
Right.
I was studying at NYU, and there was a course. I was doing creative writing, and there was a course I really, really, really wanted to take. So I signed up for it, but I got a call. I guess they said, it didn't make up, so we're not going to have that. Pick anything else. And there was just nothing that interested me. And the only thing that seemed to be available at that late date was a children's picture book writing class. And I thought, I mean, it's wonderful. I love them. We all do. And I love reading to kids, but it wasn't that of that.
Didn't hit you in a certain way. Right.
So I asked them, I said, could I contact the instructor? And they said, yeah, we'll give you her email. So I contacted her and I just said, listen, here's the deal. I couldn't get into this. I really want to do this. I really want to work on some stuff I've written here and there. And she made a deal with me. And she said, I'll tell you what, if you will take the class, you will have to, work on a picture book, and you'll have one, hopefully by the end of the term. But I will, in return, we will find some time to work on some of the things you want to in between. I thought, hey, why not? So I wrote a picture book, because I learned, what they do. And it was actually kind of good. And it was called Breakfast with the Birds, but it was 1,800 words. I don't remember now, 1,200. And it was a picture book. And I submitted it. And I got a call from, I think, an executive editor at one of the big publishing places who said, I read it and I really like it. And of course, here I go. I'm thinking, arrogant me. I still suffer from. You thought, all right, here it goes. My God, I just wrote a picture book in my class and they're going to publish it. She said, but that's not what you're writing. I went, I'm sorry. She said, I actually know a couple of pieces of your work, and a picture book is going to hold you back. You need to write a chapter book. And I went, what? I said, well, that's a long book. And she said, well, I'm not telling you have to. I'm just suggesting that I think this is restricting you. And I think you need to open it up and write that. I said, okay, I will go into mourning. I'm not going to write a one word for about a week. I'm going into mourning, and then I'm going to try, and we'll see what happens. And then about 2 weeks after that, I contacted her and I said, thank you for knowing me better than me. I started writing basically the story I had started to create in the picture book as a chapter book. And she was completely right. It opened up, listen, from 1,200 words, you take this idea and,
right,
and expand it. And it was really, that opened my heart and my head in a way that I never have imagined. So again, things sometimes happen. What was it? John Lennon who said, life is what happens when you're busy doing other things, something like that.
That's exactly right.
And it is true. So I never was that on my radar. It all came full circle when I realized, I've been writing all my life and loving it. Why didn't I put this together sooner? But then the answer for me was, if I had put it together sooner, I don't think I would have been able to create some of the things I did from the experiences I had. And I wouldn't have had the experiences. I wouldn't have had the ESPNs and the Bloopy's Buddies and a few other wonderful things. So I usually I've learned just to say yes.
It's very, very special to write for kids, whether it's television, whether it's movies, animation, books. It's a whole other, there's a certain responsibility and there's a certain depth to it. And I would imagine for you, you feel that responsibility and you almost go back to childhood yourself to get back into the mindset of the child. So you are creating these scenarios and these characters and these action points and responses as it would be as you being immersed in a childlike world, right?
Absolutely. And that is my world because, as I sometimes say on bios, I may have been raised in Texas and lived in New York and Boston and Florida, but I've never completely grown up. And to tell you the truth, that would apply. So I'm not saying I was a natural, but I'm saying it appealed to me.
Right.
To be able to do it, that I understood it. I really could get it. And then again, the theater training, being an actor, you get into characters. I had no trouble getting into the characters in my book, girl, boy, mother, father, it didn't matter. And I loved I still do that really. And I think all writers are going to tell you they of course are or get into the characters. And it just, brings out a whole other part of you when you are writing as that character without thinking about it.
We actually have, and there is the cover right there. Tell us about the cover. It's beautiful.
Okay. Well, Molly Sunday is the protagonist. And she loves having breakfast with the birds on Sundays. She goes out, feeds a bird. And about the cover, let me stick with the cover. I'm going into the plot. The cover was designed by a magnificent graphic artist named Gary DeFazio. And I used him for all my plays. I knew Gary, and all of my plays, he always designed the poster, the flyer, whatever it was. And he was just so good. And suddenly I said, well, I've written this book and it's being published and they want to supply the artwork and I'd prefer that you did it. And so he did it. And it's just wonderful. He captured a lot of things that when you read the book, you'll understand it. But the red, obviously, the cardinal is like a major part of it. And even her red pajamas are a big part of it.
Yeah.
Along with other things and her slippers and so forth. But the cover, I have loved every second of it. And when it first was published, and then I ran to a Barnes and Noble and
just looked at it, and
we
it's very it's like clean up on aisle 4.
There was a puddle. But it was anyway. But
tears of joy.
And I was just looking at the cover.
Just the cover. That's not even. We actually have a little mini video here we want to share. Breakfast with the Birds, sort of a little video just celebrating the book, and then we'll definitely come back. And congratulations on it as well, and all that you're doing. A couple of things. Matthew's watching. Matthew, welcome to the Gym Masters Show Live, Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. He says they should make a new Bloopy's Buddies show and turn it into a new cartoon.
I couldn't agree more. Let's do it.
Yes.
Matthew, if you can produce it, if you need my help, I'm there.
Yes.
In any way, any capacity.
That's it. Maureen did a little research. Nadia's theme was written in 1971. It was used in Bless the Beasts and the Children. That's right. Bless the Beasts and the Children.
Right.
Another great one. That Barry DeVorzon, of course. Then it was the theme to The Young and the Restless, which premiered in 1973, that long ago. And, of course, used in the Olympics, 75, 76 there. Yeah, huh?
I didn't know.
That's a song that has had a lifespan for sure.
It really has.
Really amazing.
I didn't know about the Bless the Beast, but I
forgot about that part.
Yeah. Thank her for telling us all.
I remember that as well. Bless the Beast and the Children. Let's take a look at that clip because it's really, really cool. Celebrating the book, Breakfast with the Birds. Much more affordable than breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes, just slightly.
Have you ever met an animal that changed your life forever? A free-spirited young girl's adventure with an injured wild bird leads to some unforeseen yet fun revelations about herself, her family, and her friends in author Jack G. Hyman's whimsical new novel. Molly isn't looking to have a pet. She prefers climbing trees, eating peanut butter, playing with her dolls, and having breakfast with the birds. But when her little brother thinks he hears a monster in the backyard, she investigates and not only finds a new friend, but learns the value of those closest to her. Discover a remarkable story you will never forget.
Very nice. Very nice. When you see that, I'm sure you're tearing up a little.
Well, the first time for sure, you know,
Yeah.
it was very exciting. Yeah, I had a great time.
What's the response been to the book so far?
It's been good. It's been very good, actually. I've been asked and have started, but because of some other theater commitments, I have not been able to complete the sequel. But I know what it is. I already have the story, and I know exactly what's going to happen. And I'm keeping the animal theme because Molly's parents are veterinarians, and that plays an important role in Breakfast with the Birds. So I'm keeping that kind of theme, and this one's about a deaf dog. The sequel.
The sequel. Yeah.
So
That's fantastic. Yeah. What's the writing process like for you? Do you do a little at a time, or do you immerse yourself and just keep going at it? Do you put it away and then come back to it? How does it work for you, Jack? Because it's all immersive once it's going. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I learned the hard way. Again, did I mention that sometimes I can be arrogant? I learned the hard way that for me anyway, I can't do a bunch of projects at the same time. I don't mean little things. Little things, you know, are easy. But when I started working Breakfast with the Birds, and I started writing an adult novel at the same time, and then I was writing a play at the same time, and eventually it really did catch up with me. Then you sit down to write and go, oh, wait, what? You know, one scene might have something similar to something else. So I started going off on that tangent and went, wait a minute, this is the adult version, and I'm in the middle of the children's book. I can't do that. So it just, I learned sort of that I need to stick with what it is, or at least a segment of it. So that's sort of my process, is to try as best I can. It's different with theater sometimes, because the more you write, the more things are out there that you have to go back to and say, oh, you know, somebody asked me to do this, or I need to do the rewrites, you know, and I ended up accidentally getting into musicals. And and I'm loving that. And that's a different,
It's a whole other, yes.
it is. It takes a different hand, a different organization, and but it, you know, listen, it's theater. I love theater, so you know, I would be crazy to not do it, and I'm really enjoying that as well. But I don't succeed, but I try to focus on one thing at a time. And as you know, I'm sure with what you do, just because you try doesn't always mean you're not called away to say, no, I have to, something else is taking a priority.
Yes, it's that juggle and that balance that sometimes becomes hard because you want to do everything and you want to be a part of it all, and sometimes you're just rolling with this, and then this other thing comes and sort of tries to take command of the thing that you're still trying to work on, and then you got to sort of flip the coin and prioritize, and it becomes, sometimes, does it ever become overwhelming for you? And if and when it does, I'm guessing that it does, what do you do to balance it? How do you counter it? What do you find your zen to be able to sort of balance it all?
Well, yes, it does become overwhelming. There are times because, you know, pressure's pressure, or deadlines are deadlines, things like that. Generally, I try to escape completely, meaning that I put everything off and do nothing for a very short period of time. You know, it could be a weekend or a few days, and then I'll focus on just you know, pleasurable things I want to do, whether it's a hike or a walk, or just going to the gym, or just hanging out. And then I go back, but before I go back, I go, okay, really, which one do I need to start back with? And I sort of then prioritize. So I sort of end up forcing myself to prioritize because of my lack of prioritizing. I end up that, and it happens to me, regularly. If I don't prioritize, I get into that groove, then suddenly I'm forced to do it. Okay, great. I'm back in the groove, and then I will eventually fall out of that groove, and then do it again. It just seems to be my style. It's like I'm an overwriter, which I admit happily, and I tend to write too much, then we go back and edit. But it's the same thing, and I happily accept that. I tried not to be and realized that that's not going to happen. So I just accepted that sort of was my procedure, my style to get in trouble and then get out of it.
Where do you think the overwriting comes from? I tend to do it too. Like I do leave long voicemails, long emails, longer than average texts, because I want to spell it all out. I want to give them all the information. I want to answer all the questions before they ask them. I want them to have everything they need. I want them to feel it, react to it, because I have to move on to the next thing. And I can't necessarily go back and repeat and go over it again. And, so I try to give it all. And there was a colleague of mine in television where we were chatting in text, and it was about the TV project we were working on. And I wrote, a pretty good size text. It wasn't the Gettysburg Address. It wasn't the Bible or Moby Dick, but it had all the specifics and the reasons why and how this, that, and the other, figuring, oh, great. I got it all spelled out. I got everything I need here. I don't have to keep going back and forth. Meaning the other person would say that, the recipient.
Right.
And the response that I got to that whole well-written, thought out thing was the letter K, as in okay, K. And I'm like, I just went through all of this and I get a K. I don't even get the O with the K. I don't get an okay. I just get K. And it's like, and so I've shortened things up a little bit, just because attention spans aren't maybe what they used to be and all of the rest. So it's like, and then when I started doing that, some friends and colleagues were like, wait a minute, there has to be more because you only said 2 sentences. Well, isn't that what you wanted?
No, I suffer from the same thing, but I think I learned to accept it because of.
I think it's a good thing.
Well, because I'm going to go back to acting again, and you'll know this if you've worked with any actors, and both myself as once an actor or then later maybe as a director. Actors often always say, hey, could I just try the scene this way? Just when in this rehearsal, could I just try it this way? I have an idea, or not even this way. They may just say, I have an idea. May I just try it? Well, any smart director will say yes, because the worst thing you can do is tell an actor no, because they'll never let it go. They may let it go if it's bad. Now, it's okay if it's bad. But the point is they have to get it out. And I sort of feel the same about writing. I have to say all of these sometimes superfluous, sometimes not even very good ideas. I just say, let's take it in this direction. Okay, good. Now let's, and then you go back. I would never reread a chapter from, let's say, Breakfast with the Birds the same day. I would spend all day writing whatever, and that was it. Day was over, go home. The next morning, when I went back to work, I would reread the chapter from the day before. And then there's a million different, things that happen. Sometimes you go, wow,
yeah,
wrote this. That's really good. And then sometimes you go,
like,
wow, who wrote this? This is crap. But I had to do it. And that's the same as the actor and as the writer.
Do you need that day do you need to detach from it and have that next day thinking, because you're so invested in it and the emotion is still thick and high, and you get some more time to breathe, have some clarity and focus and sort of reboot, you can come at it fresh and maybe see some of the and really appreciate some of the greatness of it, and then also be able to see with a clearer eye and clearer thinking and less emotion
Right.
some of the things where it needs to be tweaked a little.
No, exactly. Fresh is the magic word that you said, because, and again, you learn from trying it. If you go right back, you'll find things. Oh, I need to fix this. I need to, this is,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it is all about rewrites, but it's the wrong time for the rewrites on the spot. Write it, pour it out, get it out. Because then when you go back fresh, even if it's not good, you know what you were thinking. It's like, I went off on this tangent, and it's not good, but I sort of know why I went off on that tangent. So let's see if I can be creative and find a way to either go there a different way, or maybe not go there at all. But I couldn't do that the same day, because then you never sleep. Then you just sit there and stay with it forever. If you don't get away, and it's overnight. Not a big. Plus, your brain does get fried, and we all know that. There's a point where you go, you know what, I don't want to write anymore.
Done for now. Taking a break.
Yeah, it's like eating too much chocolate, which is very, there is a point. Even I have my limits on chocolate, and I'm a chocoholic. But to say, well, you know what, I cannot eat another piece. But tomorrow I know where it is. Yeah. So we'll call that my school of chocolate writing or something.
I don't know. We just polished off a box of truffles that were sent to me by a guest who was on the show, who's an actress in Hollywood, and she loved being a guest on the show. And I got this big box with gold foil wrapped around it, and there were these delicious truffles, and there's only about 2 left.
I relate. It's a good thing I'm not there.
The 2 would be polished off.
Yeah, you would not even.
They were small.
You wouldn't have even seen it happen.
They were small. Other things too, because you've had your hands in so many incredible things in the world of art. This play, this is one of the photos from Double or Nothing. Tell us about that.
This play was one of my earliest plays. It came from a monologue. It was something personal that happened to me. And, as a writer, I wrote about it, and I wrote it as a monologue, and it was a good monologue. And that's it. I submitted it to monologue things, and people did it, and it was all, but it just sat, and then I went, it just kept, as you hear, speaking to me and saying, this needs to be developed. The monologue was fine, but, and that's how it became a full-fledged play. And that's how it started. But it started really as a monologue about something I really needed to express, and so I did, and then eventually developed it into a full-length play. And I'm very proud of it. So it took place in the the play takes place probably in the early 2000s, but the inciting incident happened 20 years before that.
20 years before prior.
Right. So there's a lot of talk about that. But
there's another one, perspective too, and of course there's
listen, I was there during
9/11.
I lived there, and I lived in Brooklyn, right over the water, Brooklyn Heights area, where we watched. I mean, everybody stood there and watched the towers fall, and I actually had to go in within a day or two. Manhattan was closed, as you know.
Oh yes.
But a relative of mine had an uncle who lived near the Twin Towers, and was very concerned and said, "Is there anything you can do?" I said, "Look, I'll try." And I remember going across the Brooklyn Bridge, walking across, and the cops were there. And I said, "Look, may I go and look?" I told them the story, and it was all true. And they were amazing, because they're keeping people out for the obvious reason, being tourists and all that, looky-loos, whatever. And I mean, I guess I was convincing. I wasn't trying to be convincing. I was sincere that this is a problem. They can't get him on the phone. They this, that, and the other. May I go? Go. They didn't even bat an eye. I went.
Just go.
And the good news of that whole story, as wasn't in his apartment. I'm knocking on the door. It's like, oh my God, his apartment was still standing. Where was he? What's going on? So I went down into the public room. He was an old man. And that's why especially they were worried about him. And I go down in the public room. He's playing cards with all the women. So it's absolutely, and he was fine. What are you worried about? I'm fine. He said, get out of here. Go. I'm fine. And so that was like the best news to happen. So that was a happy ending.
Oh, that had to be, yeah.
Horrible time, but that was an amazing time to be in New York. It was,
yeah.
But I wrote Perspective because we needed some.
And then Sex on the Beach.
Well, it's actually not about sex on the beach.
That phone doesn't look like either, but
it's about I don't tell you, it's about a married couple who cannot have relations unless a telemarketer calls. There, I've said it. So that's the premise. And the sex on the beach refers to a drink, which you've heard of the drink, I'm sure. And there's a whole running theme of weird named drinks that they call each other. Oh, my screaming Viking,
Yeah, right.
Oh, my pink pussycat, I mean, so that's part of their relationship, along with the telemarketers that call.
The relationship now would really go south with the robocall blocking and spam blocking that happens that you have now on your phone.
Yeah. Except I still get those calls.
Yeah, even if you're unlisted, you still get it. It's nuts. And, Lady E, another book.
Lady E is not finished.
Yeah, you're still working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. That was, I think that is the one that when I was mentioning earlier, a novel. I was trying to do everything at once. And she's great. She's a Southern woman who appears to be one thing, appears to be at the end of her life, and she is so far from it. And just and I've forgotten the blurb on it, but something like anyway, been married 3 times, buried 3 husbands, and she's a pistol. She's a character I love very dearly, but she had an amazing life. Not a true story, but she just so that's very near and dear to me. And I do a little on it all the time. It gets a little closer to finish gradually, but other things got in the way happily, and that's like the musical Breakfast with the Birds, the big musical that I'm also working on. And I need to stay with those because they're my babies too.
Yeah. Yes. Here's another one. Now this is the Carousel. It's this MUSCAVADO.
That's temporarily.
Yeah, it's still in progress.
Yes, the names of all of the horses on this it's a magical carousel, are all named after different sugars. MUSCAVADO is a sugar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yes, there's Turbinado, there's MUSCAVADO, but the title at the moment is Saving Greenport, because I used to live out in Long Island. This carousel is real, and it all happens in this village of Greenport, Long Island.
Greenport, yes.
It exists. I used to live in Orient Point. And
did you really?
I did for many years.
We would always drive all the way out. I grew up on Long Island. We would drive out. Well, if we didn't drive up to Connecticut and Massachusetts to visit my mother's side of the family, my mother's the youngest of 16, so big family in New England. So we would drive up from New York every summer and spend about a month plus in New England. If we didn't do that, sometimes, well, we always did that. But if we didn't drive, sometimes we would either take, of course, the Port Jefferson to Bridgeport ferry, but we did a lot the Orient Point to New London ferry. And that drive out, once you get off the expressway and you're meandering through those beautiful, out east towns, Peconic towns of eastern Long Island are really, really beautiful. All the way to Orient Point, the tip of the North Fork.
That's exactly where I was, and I love it. I was on the last road before the ferry that you're speaking.
You were at the last road. Doesn't that sound like a play? The last road before the ferry.
The last road before the ferry. I'm going to write that down.
I was going to say, write it down.
Absolutely.
What was that like during inclement weather?
Unbelievably great. It was unbelievably great. It was just I saw weather as opposed to, or I guess I felt weather as opposed to seeing. It's not like anything you could imagine, because the storms, when they hit the tip of the island, often there were bad storms in New York and the other part of the island, the western part, they really didn't come out there, or didn't do that much. But when they hit there, it was real nature, and it was magnificent in its sort of terribleness. It was hard not to appreciate nature, because it was really probably the first time in my life
The
I ever,
whipping winds and
even the snowstorms were
yes.
harsher, but in a good way. I mean, it's nice to be inside, a warm house. But
you're closer to Connecticut actually than you are to New York City from that point, because of the way it tips up towards. You never tried to take a swim over to Plum Island, did you?
No. In fact, I knew what Plum Island was, but that's how I got into the DeMille, the writer, that's that great family, the whole DeMille family. Nelson is someone came to visit me. My mom came to visit me and brought me a book. Said, "Oh, this is called Plum Island by Nelson DeMille." I'd heard of Nelson DeMille, but I hadn't heard of Plum Island. I had never read him, and I became addicted to his sort of wonderful spy mystery thrillers and all of that. And that's what started at Plum Island.
It's an interesting place. Yes. Really.
Yes. No, I was never there. I don't think you could go at that time. I don't think it's in the facility anymore. I think it's either been sold or turned into something else. I don't think it was a wildlife experimental station or something. It was
governmental run by the government, and
it was always controversial about a disease experimental place. So I don't know any more than anybody else about it, but I could see it.
What are some other exciting things you have coming up? I mean, there's a lot brewing, a lot you're working on, Jack, but what are some other exciting things that you have up your sleeve?
Well, two fun things, and I have to give credit to an amazing woman named June Rachel Sanaspa.
Oh yeah, our dear friend. Yeah.
Yes, and she is the one who was instrumental after my book came out, contacted me and wanted to make it into a musical. So we've been working on that, and Breakfast with the Birds is now a musical. We're actually literally in the middle of just little edits here. It's finished, but we're editing here, editing there, making it a little shorter because some of us are overwriters. So getting that done, tweaking the music and things like that. But June gets full credit for getting that ball rolling, and the composer is a gentleman named Frank Sanchez that has done wonderful work. But because of that, there's other things that June and I got involved with, and through circumstance led to the new musical I'm writing now, which is about the 19th century French artist that the New York Times called the greatest female artist you've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And her life, if you could read two paragraphs and go, how is it possible we've never heard of her? How is it possible we've never known this story? And I'm writing it. So I'm writing the book and the lyrics, and the composer is this amazing 19-year-old kid who is sort of hopefully turns out to be a fabulous wunderkind, because some of the work he's already done is just wonderful, the music. And and it was fun to work with him. He's very solid and focused, and does a good job. So those are the two big projects right now. We want to wrap up Breakfast with the Birds, the musical, and I'm having a great time, and June's great to work with. And so we're doing that. And then the big musical, that one is the biggest thing I've ever tackled, the artist. So that's but a life that is meant to be told and meant to be a musical. So that's been a lot of fun.
So in your case, you could say that your career has been for the birds.
Absolutely. Birds. Well, that.
Have you ever wanted to fly the coop sometimes?
Yes, and I do monthly.
Well, you lived in Orient Point, as far out as you can go without swimming.
Inspiration. That really was the inspiration.
It had to be, yeah.
because I fed the birds. I mean, I love birds, and like
Nature
anybody.
and beauty. And
And the cardinals, which is the main bird in the story, just were all over the place, and they were great, and you could feed them. And I mean, it was a whole wildlife area where I was, and that really, it was. I realized I was having breakfast every day with the birds.
yes.
I grab a cup of tea or whatever. I go outside to write, and of course, the birds were all over me and all around me. See, and I'm having breakfast with the birds, and that's really where the title came from, even though there hadn't been a story until the NYU thing. But yeah, that was a lot of the inspiration, and a lot of the references are in there, which there's other birds that are referred to. They were birds that were in my yard. So it was fun to know firsthand little nuances and character elements of birds that were in my yard, because they all had characters. So
They're like your babies, aren't they? When you create characters, they are like your children. You really care for them. You watch over them. They really are a part of your being, right?
no question, they really are. And I think they're a part, as you say, they're part of you, even if it's a mean, horrible character. We all can tap into not so much an act of malice, but a thought of it. And of course you have to go there for, depending on the character. And I think that, it's an interesting, it's like therapy, being able to tap into all of these different sides of that. I always say I'm never alone, because there are an awful lot of characters that live in my head all the time. So, it's hard to get lonely when you're writing about different characters. And I think the fact that I do different genres, that makes it more fun too.
Yes, right, exactly. What is on the horizon for you? What are some things you haven't done, Jack? Areas you haven't explored? You've been in, stage and writing and television and music and so much more. Movies, film.
I toy with, I haven't written any film stuff, maybe like a treatment for an NYU class, but I don't know. I think what plays with my mind the most these days, whether it will happen or not, is writing a pilot, writing for TV. But we'll see. I keep a little book right here on my desk every time I have an idea, and I just write it on a Post-it and throw it in there. So at least I don't have to worry about remembering it. Since it's my pen. Do you know what I mean when I say it's my pensieve? From Harry Potter, that was where they kept memories, and that's my pensieve. Because I can put the references there, and then
all in there.
Yeah, and I forget most of them, and then I go back and go, oh my God, thank goodness I wrote it down, because now I know.
Tell us about a couple of people have noticed it, and thanks for all the great comments. And we've been showing some of them during the show, and our lovely viewers watching around the world. Good to have you guys here. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV, definitely do that. Give this episode a thumbs up. We would love that. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. And the room that you're in, tell us about what we're seeing all around you. There's a lot to see.
Well, that could be scary. This is my office. My office is my brain. And I mean that if you consider it to be cluttered, then that's okay. That would be part of my brain. You're not seeing all of it, and some parts are probably better that you don't, because I am organized disorganization, probably. But anyway, I there's a lot of things. I have an old, like superhero collection of crazy superheroes. What else? The old clock. That head you're seeing with a clown nose on it is an albino turkey. He's covered with colorful lace, so you can't really see his body, but that was my father's. And in fact, I write at the most magnificent roll top desk that was also my father's. And so I keep that spirit alive and well here. And my mom is still around and active and absolutely phenomenal. They both were inspirations to me, but a lot of fun. Someone says something about Bloopy in the background. I do have a Bloopy doll in the background there. Wow. very observant. Whoever said that, there's the Bloopy doll, one of them. There was a whole marketing campaign for Bloopy. Anyway, my office is crazy, but it makes me feel good because it's filled with personal stuff, mementos. That picture over, I guess that would be my right shoulder, is my grandparents at their engagement party in Baltimore, Maryland, which means like turn of the century. And you can't see it up close, but it's an amazing portrait. And this is my mother's parents, and they weren't even married yet. So I mean, it's kind of cool to see that generation. And I love generational things. So yeah, this is Phil. And then that drawing of me was actually done during Bloopy's Buddies. The clock is from a trip to Europe. Stuff I have, invitations to different things that are meaningful to me. Posters of some of my plays are on the other side. And, like I say, it's my brain, which is semi-cluttered, as is my office. And that's the way it is.
You ever see Joe Franklin's office? The late, great Joe Franklin, who was on Channel 9 in New York, one of the longest running, most eccentric and incredible late night talk show hosts. He was buried in paraphernalia. Oh, I think you can see something on YouTube where he's interviewed, and the reporter, she had to go through tunnels of stuff, newspapers, magazines, trivia. He just had it all. He was surrounded by it, and he was not a tall man either. He was just buried in it. Really, really amazing records and just photos and newspaper articles, and just quite a legend. I had an opportunity to meet him a couple of times. He was just really somebody quite special, like Regis Philbin too, quite special, sort of old school qualities there. But, I think it's great to see, it gives people a certain perspective when they see like one of the rooms that you cherish and all these valuables and these things around you that give you sort of comfort and solace as you're working. You have familial things around you, things passed down, things that might be new, things that have meaning, things that are different chapters of your life that are surrounding you there, which is very grounding, isn't it?
No, it is absolutely. It's everything you just said. I have, pictures of college teams, wrestling team and baseball teams and gymnastics teams and travel and all of that, and pictures of my folks, all of the things that the energy feeds me. It's like, some writers enjoy being in a busy place, say a coffee shop, and I'm one of them. I can write in quiet, I can write in chaos, and I'm happy with both, because they both feed me in different ways. It really depends on the scene or what I'm working on or the story. Breakfast of the Birds was written almost exclusively in coffee shops.
Was it really?
Yeah. Because it's a kid's book. I wanted it, and the energy of yes, there are kids floating in and out too, but just people's energy. And I found very often that, I'd finish and I'd be thinking, okay, where's this going to go now? What's the next thing? And I would just relax and sort of look around. And that's, you project something about someone who is probably totally false. It doesn't matter, but it would feed my energy to think, I like what I'm thinking about what that person's thinking.
Yes.
Or I can go on and maybe write a scene for whatever it's worth, or at least go on to a different thing, or have an idea where I want it to go, but then use real faces to sort of excite me and use their energy. And I am a big believer. I got stopped. A lot of people knew I was a writer would say, how do you write in this chaos? And I went, what chaos? So for me, I'm okay with noise and craziness. It was never an issue. It still isn't. I mean, I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a while to train myself to write in quiet, to be honest. I'm fine with it now. But I had to do the opposite. I had to stay home and write in my office, and not just say, I'm getting up and I'm going to the coffee shop. But both have different energies. And, and that's why I'm surrounded by all of these things that give me this energy.
You feed off the energy of others and give it back, right? Yeah, I do too. I love the energy of, I like some things happening around me a little bit more than just being in a dark room by myself. Sort of, some people love that, just that you hear nothing, just zero, like absolutely not even breath. I like a little maybe music underneath or a fan going or just a little something
I'm the same.
for that rhythm of life to be
Yeah.
still flowing.
No, I get that. I get that as well. And I agree completely. Just something,
Yeah.
that can feed the energy or feed off of the energy or me feed off of the energy. I mean, it's energy. Energy is energy.
It's what it is. It's energy.
Energy of the
Exactly.
universe, is powerful. And
Yeah.
if we listen or pay attention or just relax into it, it's gonna give us some clues.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're by the ocean, you're in Fort Lauderdale, and you were by the ocean with Orient Point, Long Island, and everything else. And the ocean for me has always been a Zen place to go and talk about, the sound of the tide, the water splashing up, and just all the sounds you hear near the ocean, the giggling of kids, boats going by, the splash of the water, just all of it. And to me, and I'm always in it too. You're swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing, whatever.
Yeah.
Barefoot on the beach, feeling very grounded when barefoot in the sand is huge for me, really. And maybe growing up on the island where we have all the water around, but then right here along the coast, same thing. The water really speaks to me. The ocean does, because it's one of the things too, is because it's in control, not me. It's larger than me. It provides beauty and joy and sustenance and all these things. The sun rises up out of it and sort of sets back into it in a way, the way it looks. And it just provides this rhythm, this constant nature of flow. I kept telling people, I've said it a couple of times in this series, that during this pandemic, as people were sort of losing their minds a little bit and just sort of like, what's happening? Or what are we doing? Where are we going? Everything is changing. Everything, the rug is being pulled out. Nothing will ever be the same. I said, go plant a garden, go to nature, go to the forest, go to, wherever you need to go to the mountains, do a little hiking. If you're by the ocean, go to the ocean. And all these things that we are, we have around us are still there. They were there well before us. They'll be there well after us. And they have no idea about pandemics or any of this stuff. They're just doing their thing. The ocean is just doing its thing. That's it. The squirrels are running around in the fall to grab the nuts so they can get through the winter. They're just doing their thing. They don't know any of this. So if you want to get away from some of that super in your face reality, because I know we live in a time where super raw, in your face reality, and we hear it in music, we see it in film, we see it on television, it's everywhere, it's in the news. I like some balance. I like daydreaming and brainstorming and some fantasy and some of that artful creation through what we do, to balance that. Okay, if you want that reality in your face stuff constantly, I don't think it's good for us. But if you want it 24/7, blah 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 blah, and then you got all the technology and all the social media and all this stuff coming at you, I think you got to take some time. And I think the pandemic gave us that time to reappreciate the ocean, the mountains, the forests, the old movies, the nostalgic TV shows, bringing out the vinyl records, baking the bread in the oven, calling a friend. It was sort of like in a horrific way, in a crazy way, a big wake-up call, and sort of like a gift for us to take, learn from, and hopefully absorb and apply to the rest of our lives.
Well, I mean, you're completely right. And I think that some of us know, I'm not saying it's me, but some of us know that there's a primal pull from all of these things because we are animals and primal. And even if you don't know, you still feel it. You don't have to know that's what it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be analyzed. But I think exactly what you said, the pull of the ocean, the pull of the earth, the pull of the skies, of the stars, of the moon. There's something that I think we all consciously or unconsciously gravitate to for peace, in many ways, or just relaxation, which is why people either want to live near the water or want to vacation near the water or want to go to outer space. I mean, why not?
Or hike the mountains or go to the desert or whatever it is, right?
Absolutely. Go to
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
Right, exactly. As a kid, and I still do, I always loved a planetarium. Just going, there's something about it, the planetarium when I was a kid. And now the planetarium is right outside. But, I love going outside and just looking up.
Yeah.
And I do that in cities too. I always look up. Everybody either looks forward or look down. You see a lot of people in cities with their heads down, sort of miserable and moping. And I'm like, look up, look, just look at the way the sun is reflecting off the glass of the top of that spire on that building. And just think about the fact that people actually are up at the top of that right now, working, dining, eating, sleeping. And people were on cranes building this, and somebody designed these structures that we sort of don't take the time to look up at.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in Manhattan, I'm always looking for the Empire State Building. It's one of my favorite buildings in the world because it's one of those, it's almost like whatever block you walk on, you end up seeing it. It's like it's following you from every block. You end up, there it is again. There it is down there. There it is. It's right in the center. It's very grounding. It's survived so many things, like a mini plane hitting it in the 30s and just so much. And architecturally, it's stunning and very beautiful and sort of authoritative. I studied architecture and design before I went into television and radio and all. And it's just it's a very grounding thing for me when I go into, I always notice it. I've been with people where there it is all lit up and nobody's looking at it. Nobody's like, but there it is. Yeah, but we've seen it before. We saw it. We saw it since we were kids. Yeah, but still there it is. And tonight it's purple. It's green. It's red, white, and blue.
Right.
And look at it. Look at the way the sun's hitting it. To me, every single time I look at it, it's brand new, even though I've seen it a million times.
But is that a testament to the creativeness of the architecture and all the things that are done, that you can just look at it, and whether you see something different or just appreciate what it is? I agree with you. It's very
art is the same way.
Yeah.
You can look at a painting, you can hear a piece of music and do it 10 times and hear and see things different every single time if you take time to really sink your teeth into it.
No, it's true. And again, I think that goes back to, it's a primal thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain it. You can explain it, but it doesn't matter. And you may not be able to explain it. It's just, that's how
automatic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great to tap into it again, consciously or unconsciously, just to, and accept it and absorb it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Absorb it, because it's part of the beauty of life, right? It's what inspires us to get through life and be resilient and create and do what we do and connect and, pay it forward.
Absolutely. And it does. You create is right. It really feeds us no matter what we do. You don't have to be in the arts to be fed creatively.
Somebody that knew that very well, Mr. George Burns, with us this evening.
Oh, wow. Hello, George.
That's the reaction that everybody gets. He's got his cigar and he's got his red hanky. And he said you knocked it out of the park, and he thoroughly enjoyed this conversation on the Jim Masters Show tonight.
Well, I've had a ball. This has just been so much fun, George. And you too, Jim. But that's what a fun time. What a great show you have. Just really, really.
I appreciate that.
Just relaxed and filled with information, and a great way to be primal.
Yes, be real and let it ride. Like I say to the audience, There were no pre-scripted questions. You had no idea what direction we were going in. There was nothing pre-planned. We didn't go over anything in advance, deeply. It's just turn on the lights and let's go live with our fabulous viewing audience, our lovedies watching around the world, and just connecting and having a good sort of old school conversation with a little modern twist in there. And wherever it goes, it goes. And I think that authenticity and that warmth and realness is what people are craving. And it's automatic pilot for me anyway. It's not a switch I need to turn on, and then when the lights go off, I turn it off. It's me doing me with the lights.
Well, and nobody does it better. But really nice. I mean, I think you just have a real hand in not just keeping things going, but in asking questions and talking and sharing. And I think that was kind of special too. You shared a lot because you obviously have a lot of experiences, and it's fun to share them as they relate to, I assume, whoever you're talking with.
Right, exactly. I'm always looking for relatability. I'm always listening deeply and intently, and always looking for the thread, and always wanting to ask the why. Because when I feel the why, then we move on to the who, what, when, where, and how with everything. So I like to feel the why first and then take it from there. And this was really fantastic. And I know a lot of the folks that have been watching live, we appreciate them. And anybody that watches this later, it'll be archived on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. Check that out. And some great comments coming in from our viewers who have been commenting throughout the evening. Thank you for being here, Jack. Enjoyed this conversation. I still love children's books.
Oh,
absolutely.
Nice. I love that.
And that is Kathleen in New York City. Sherry in Kansas says, thank you for sharing your life and your work with us, Jack. Can't wait to read your book.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, that's right. I love reading kids' books. I used to love kids' joke books. I still have mine from 6th grade. I mean, and I'm like, actually, it's so innocent. But boy, that was funny. I mean,
when you see different humor from different periods of time.
You see different humor. That's right. Merlin, Ontario, Canada says, thanks, Jack. It was lovely to meet you. You know why the teacher wore sunglasses in the classroom, right, Jack?
I don't.
Because she had such bright pupils. Sixth grade. My kind
of humor. My kind of humor.
6th grade. Jack, this has been a very pleasant and interesting conversation. Thank you. From Nikki, who's watching, one of our lovedies as well. Jen Barry in Pennsylvania and Allentown. Jack, thank you for spending time with us. Come back soon. You are a lovedy. You're now designated a Gym Master Show lovedy. So there's Emmys, Peabodys, Oscars. There's Tonys, there's Tellys, all of it, Grammys. But then there's a Gym Master Show lovedy as designated by me and the viewers. How does that make you feel? Are your feet tingling right now, Jack?
All of me is tingling, and I accept and am honored to be a lovedy. So I can't think of a better way to end my day before I start my next
as a lovedy.
As a lovedy,
with the E in it. Even though grammatically, a 7th grade or 3rd grade teacher will go, what are you talking about? Take that E out. I before E, except it to C. But we left it. The viewers voted. Maureen in Arizona says, you've brought so much happiness to kids of all ages, Jack. Thank you for being with us this evening. Really kind words coming in from, and this is our faithful audience here. Everybody saying some really wonderful things. I love it. This was terrific, my friend. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me and our viewers as much as we have with you tonight.
Jim, it far exceeded it, and I'm not saying that just as they say, blow smoke up your skirt. It's heartfelt, an amazing experience, and I'm the better for having been here, and I thank you for that.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. And I've said it several times on the show. My father has always said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management.
You got it.
And June says, and we can bring breakfast with the birds when it's ready. I look forward to that, my friend June. Can't wait to see it. And congratulations to all involved. You, of course, both of you working on this, and cool stuff. We'll have to do dinner in the city with June or something at some point when she comes up from Maryland. That'll be cool.
Absolutely right. And, you know,
we got to break bread.
And let me know where you are in Miami or wherever you're going. Fort Lauderdale.
I'm going to Fort Lauderdale in May for a television news project. Just found out this morning. Actually, we coordinated it this morning, so that'll be cool. May in Fort Lauderdale sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, great. Well, if the spirit moves you, we'll grab a cup and just have a nice continued conversation.
That sounds good. Jack, my friend, thank you very much for all you've brought our way over the years and continue to. There were people watching for various things that you've done in your career that brought them in. And this was really a pleasure. Again, good luck. Yes, absolutely, June, for the dinner. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the book and the musical and Breakfast with the Birds. The book can be found everywhere. Is it Barnes and Noble, Amazon, everything?
I mean, I always tell people Amazon only because it's a little cheaper and it's easier, and it's a click of the mouse and all that. But Barnes and Noble have it. The publisher, you can buy it directly from them. But again, every time someone asks me, I just say, go to Amazon. Yeah. And it's hardback and it's softback and it's forgot what do you call it? Kindle.
Kindle, yes. Yeah. Kindle now. Exactly.
It's fairly easy to find. And if some of the mom and pop stores wouldn't have it, but they can always order it. It's fun. And I thank you as well, Jim. And I thank your lovelies. They're totally cool. So
absolutely.
Thank you to them.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all ours, Jack. We will check you out again soon. We'll keep that porch light on for you. And again, thanks for being with us. And as I say to all the guests, when we chat a little bit longer, we said we'd go for an hour and 45 minutes, my friend. Doesn't even seem like it, right?
Not at all. That flew. I didn't even look at the clock.
And you've got one behind you too, and you didn't even look at it.
I could have just looked in here. No,
that's
totally smooth. That's a credit to you, Jim.
Appreciate that. You thanks for stopping by. You be well, and we will chat again real soon. Okay, Jack?
I'll look forward to it. Thank you again.
All right. You take care now. As I say to all the guests, go stretch those legs. Get the circulation going.
Yes, that will feel good.
Take care. Be well.
You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Jack G. Hyman here live on the Jim Masters Show live. Good to have you guys with us. Thanks for all these great comments coming up throughout. Really, really fantastic to have him here on the show. We went over a good deal of his career. That wasn't even all of it. He's done so much more, but gave you a good breadth and scope and understanding of some of the incredible work. I mean, what a variety, from PBS Kids and Bloopy's Buddies to Breakfast with the Birds to, wonderful plays, the musicals, as well as even working with ESPN and Bart Connor. Really, really cool stuff. Love it. He's dabbled in television and broadcast media and, the arts in every shape and form, from musical to stage and then, of course, capturing the hearts and minds of children as well. And he's, of course, a teacher. He's paying it forward as an educator, as a teacher as well, which is really, really the best. Jen Barry says, fun show tonight. Thank you, Jim and Jack. Very, very, very good to have you with us here, and always a pleasure when you're here. And everybody, we thank you for joining us as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where you'll see over 600 episodes, almost 650 episodes that we have done of this series. And it's been extraordinary. Guests of all kinds, poignant conversations, holiday-themed episodes, on-location episodes, just like an entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series, not just an interview or two, because we don't even call this an interview show. We call it variety, entertainment, lifestyle talk show series, and we love doing it. Also, don't forget to give this episode a like. There's a little like icon you see there on the YouTube channel. Looks like a thumbs up. Click on that for us and leave a comment on the YouTube channel. That helps us big time as well. And if you subscribe, don't forget to click that notification bell so you never miss any of the alerts. You get notified about all the episodes that we have of our series. We thank Jack for joining us here on the show. It was really, really great of him to spend this amount of time with us. And also, I want to let you know, tomorrow we've got another amazing guest from Hollywood. Sam Quasman is here on the show. Veteran actor, comedian, dancer. He actually danced in MAME with Lucille Ball. I mean, a prolific dancer. He's been in some of the most incredible, legendary films of our time, but he's also a brilliant cartoon voiceover artist. Yes, he's voiced Donald Duck. He's also worked with Seinfeld and so many others. He voices Little Quacky. He's been a part of Tom and Jerry. He was also on the Bob Newhart Show TV series on CBS and so much more. He's going to be with us. And then look who's with us on Wednesday. The amazing Kreskin, world-renowned mentalist, author, TV personality extraordinaire. The amazing Kreskin is going to be with us live Wednesday, this Wednesday. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live from Hollywood. Sam Quasman is going to be here. It's going to be amazing. He's going to be doing voices for us and so much more. And also, the amazing Kreskin is going to be with us live here exclusively on the Jim Masters Show Wednesday. On Thursday, we've got another legend, Grammy-winning, legendary drummer, producer, and songwriter. Tony Brunagel is going to be with us. Tony's joining us as well, live from Los Angeles. He's extraordinary, and his background is incredible. He's worked with some of the greats. He's with us exclusively on Thursday. Sam is with us tomorrow. The amazing Kreskin on Wednesday. Thursday, Tony Brunagel is with us. It's extraordinary, really. Coming up on the 28th next week on Monday. Again, this is for the live audience watching. If you're watching this right now, 6 months from now, this is all past tense. You can just binge watch the episodes. But from Saturday Night Live, she's been a part of the SNL band for a long time. Christine Ullman, she's a dear friend. We worked on a fantastic concert special called Celtic Rock before a few years ago. She was performing with a lot of other performers. I was the MC. The Beehive Queen, acclaimed singer, songwriter, Saturday Night Live. She calls herself the Beehive Queen because she loved Ronnie Spector. Ronnie Spector was a personal dear friend of mine. And if you didn't see the tribute on our YouTube channel that I did personally in honor of Ronnie, who passed away in January, Christine has always paid homage to Ronnie. And let's take a look at some comments before we do wrap up. Hugs to Nikki. Thank you very much to you as well. It's always great when you're here, Nikki. And thanks for all the great comments and all the messages you've been sending about how much you enjoy what we're doing here on the Jim Masters Show live. Kathleen says, have a great night. Good night, all. Hugs. Lovely is the best. Yes, it is. Kathleen in New York City. Sherry in Kansas. Sweet dreams, everyone. Love and hugs to you all. That's right. If you guys want to have the ability to comment in chat when our episodes are live, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because this is a gift for the subscribers. And don't forget, we also do super chat, super emoji, super stickers during chat, during the live shows. That helps us big time. And then if you want to support the show afterwards on our YouTube channel and all the episodes, there's a little heart there that says thanks. Click on that. That helps support everything we're doing here. Which is expensive and costly, but we love doing it for all of you. Hearts coming in from June Rachelson Aspa. Thank you, June. We appreciate that. My friend, hope all is well there in Maryland. Thanks for all these great comments. You guys are just absolutely terrific. Maureen says, why do these conversations always seem to end so quickly, even though they're almost 2 hours? Thanks, Jim, for a fabulous show today. It's just what I needed after a heck day, part-time or not. Work can be crazy. Yeah, she's still doing part-time, but retired recently after many years as a nurse in Arizona. Maureen, yes, we appreciate you. Kathleen Walker in New York says, great show. Thank you, Jim. My pleasure. Sherry Larson says, thank you, Jim, for another fabulous show. My pleasure. Night from June there in the Baltimore area. Right back at you. Christine Clifton says, Jim, thanks for this lovely conversation with Jack. It was a joy learning more of his career. Children's books are the best. He's now our new fun lovity. Good night, Jim, and all next time. Absolutely. Christine in North Carolina. And Nikki says, thank you indeed, Jim. My pleasure as well. Good stuff. We got a lot of great guests and a lot of cool things happening on the Jim Masters Show Live. Really cool things. Thanks for all of these great comments. You guys are really the best. We appreciate all of you. And again, as we mentioned, go find your Zen place. Don't forget to smile. Mine, of course, as we mentioned, the ocean. How apropos that we talked about the ocean today. And of course, my career in television, radio, stage, and film over the years. That's another Zen place for me. And gang, don't forget to share the lovity. Something that just developed, just slipped out of my mouth, and the rest is history here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Whenever you see this, you know we're going to have a good time right here on JMS Live. All right, gang, we love you all. Thanks for being with us. It was really a pleasure having you here. We'll be back tomorrow for all of you. I got a super busy day tomorrow, 4 radio shows to host and then a TV shoot and a lot of other cool things. Busy time, and I love spending the time with all of you. We'll see you on the next one, okay? We don't say goodbye here. We just say see you later. Cheers, slancha, shalom, sayonara, avidazain, moi loop, all of the above. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Your host, Jim Masters here. Thanking you for your time this time till next time on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. Such a fun show. Good night, everyone. Mary Bishop in Florida, Pine Island, Florida. Good to see you, Mary. Jen says, thank you, love you. Right back at you as well. Thanks and relax. Absolutely. The famous words from Merlin in Ontario, Canada. Thanks and relax. We're going to do that right now. You guys be well. Take care, all right? Be good to one another. Love one another. And we'll see you right here. I'll be waiting for you in this host chair around all of these colorful lights to entertain, inform, educate, and have a good time and inspire all of you. Maureen says, I'm so grateful for all you do for us, Jim. I know it's no small task to put these shows together. You and your team are amazing. Thank you a million times for creating this. Lovely hugs to all. Thank you for those beautiful and kind words. I appreciate that. We're going, since you've put that in writing, we'll print it out. We'll send it to management, which is right here. So that's going full circle with that comment, Maureen. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you as well. Don't forget to share the links to our episodes on all your social media. Spread the word. You know, just share the YouTube link on your social media. Say, tell your friends and family, hey, tune into the Jim Masters Show Live here on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. That helps us out big time. We'll see you again, okay? Be well, and we'll talk to you again soon on the Jim Masters Show Live. Take care. Cheers.